Hey guys, welcome to Film Fetish Off the Cuff. Off the Cuff is basically this. I'm on a webcam, I've got no production value, no mark, no nothing. Yes, I do look this hideous in real life. My cameraman is just very good about making me look quite delectable on camera. But, as I said, he's not here, so this is what you get. Welcome to Film Fetish Off the Cuff. For my first episode, I figured, you know what? Let's talk about something I find amazing, which is Cyberpunk 2077, which I actually just beat last night. It was like afternoon, night, so night. Anyway, I spent well over 46 hours in the game. I beat the story. I have only two of the major character side missions left. Anyone who's played Mass Effect will basically realize they're sort of like the loyalty missions in that. Still a ton of gigs and what are they called? Uh, like crazy people, like something paths, but it's like cyberpunk-ish. I still have a ton of police missions to do, but the main chunk is done. And by God, I loved every minute of it, and I was actually kind of upset when it ended. But with that being said, there are at least three endings to the game. I say at least because little things you do in the beginning and in some of the side missions even and towards the end all reflect what kind of ending you're going to get. Now, before I get more into the game itself and why it's incredible, let's backtrack to the current trend of bandwagon hating something for no reason. Now, day one, sure, the game was kind of broken. I crashed 7 or 8 times and had some hilarious glitches. I actually saved a bunch on my PlayStation. But within 24 hours, they released a 27 gigabyte update that fixed 90% of the problems. I had not crashed once since then. Most of the glitches are even gone, unfortunately. Some of them were hysterical, so I kind of wish they wouldn't have. Um, but I was just kind of irritated with big reviewers such as IGN and all them who just constantly have just bashed and bashed and bashed the game when they give 8s and 9s to every single Ubisoft game to come out, even though they made a montage video about how buggy and nightmarish most of their games usually are when they come out. And I just don't see how that makes any sense whatsoever. Not to mention masterpieces such as Skyrim when it first came out. I remember when you couldn't save past 11 megabytes without turning off autosave, or your stuff would be corrupted, or dragons flying backwards, or, just enemies and AI just disappearing on the screen and then they're hovering 35 feet above you. The simple fact is, we don't live in 2002 anymore. Games have patches and updates. It also doesn't help that people were sending death threats to Cyberpunk's team, CD Projekt Red, when the game got delayed after it had gone gold. God forbid they realized there was a problem and were trying to fix it. Yes, they did mess up by hiding the footage and not giving review copies to reviewers for the PS4 and Xbox One version. They did hurt themselves there, but at the end of the day, I'm playing on a Gen 1 7-year-old PS4, and the game ran smooth 99% of the time. It has no worse glitches, no worse bugs than Skyrim, Fallout 4, oh god, Watch Dogs Legion, that's a glitchy nightmare, and Valhalla, which I love. I've already put 50 hours into that one. At the end of the day, these games are great, you just have to be patient. But, back to the good news. Let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077 on a Gen 1 PS4. The story, first off, is shockingly deep. By the end of it, I was like in awe. I was absorbed. It is It's not short in the general sense. 20 hours is not short. Uh, but in terms of the story, when you are engrossed with it, yes, it will feel short because you're like, oh my god, it's over. Um, but the story of the game is not the whole thing. That's like the baked potato. All the side missions are the steak. Um, because the side missions are incredible. Within 36 hours, I had made friends with a sentient vending machine, almost been killed by Gladys, from Portal, if you don't know who that is. Who else? I found the Mono Whip, which is essentially the laser whip that the villain used in Johnny Mnemonic. He had a prosthetic thumb, and his thumbnail would come out, and it was like a laser whip he could assassinate people with. Um, God, I found a gun that talks named Skippy. That's hysterical. Uh, I had sex in a hovering tank that used the two neural uplink mode similar to Pacific Rim. It was kind of awesome. Very Cyberpunk Grand Theft Auto. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of stuff to do in the game. And if you're a huge cyberpunk junkie like me, if you love William Gibson, Philip K. Dick, Harlan Ellison, all their stuff blends, blends perfectly in this game. I literally was just riding around the city in my car, just gawking at the incredible scenery. Speaking of just driving around, the music in this game is spectacular. Like, you could hear the same song 3 times and you'll still just be like, yeah! Just because a lot of the songs in the game were created by bands that don't actually exist. They were created for the game, and it's kind of amazing. Like, the lead singer of Godhead came together to create a band called Rezodrone, I think it's called, and they've got 3 songs in the game that are just metal, like a boss. You've got great EDM. You've got some of the newer rap, not very good. I would have preferred more of the, classic 90s, like crunk, like, the good stuff, not this crap. You've even got some country. It's funny to think country survived the 2077. Thought that was hilarious. But with all that, and the overall soundtrack, very Vangelis, Blade Runner-esque soundtrack that you get overall in the story and everything else, the audio is absolutely incredible. If they release a soundtrack, I highly suggest you get it. It's gonna just blow your mind. I loved every second of the soundtrack. Now let's move on to the characters. You've got Johnny Silverhand, you've got your male or female character V, you've got your Ripper Doc, you've got this lady who's a tarot card reader that's the girlfriend of your buddy Jackie. You have just an astounding amount of characters. Even Elon Musk, his wife, is in it as a character, and she's hilarious. There's just so many interesting characters, and they all are real enough. You will be interested in where their story goes. You're not just going to go, oh, another NPC, cool, they're done. It's very much similar to The Witcher 3, which is one of my favorite games of all time, where each individual character is so well written, so well acted, that at the end of the day you're going to go, oh, I wonder what happened to them. Or, if one of them happens to die, like you fail a mission, you're going to go, oh, what? And in my case, I actually restarted a couple of them because I was like, no, we're going to do this. Then there are other side missions with characters you don't really get to learn anything about. You're just in the moment. One in particular, spoilers, you've been warned, follows these 2 cops outside of an apartment where you live. You're like a ground above the guy. And they're worried about him because his best friend just passed away, and they're afraid, he's gonna kill himself, essentially. So they ask you to talk to him, and you can say yes or no. I, of course, went yes. Let's drag this out. So I went and spoke to the guy. Thought I did really good. He was like, you know what? Thanks, man, for coming in. I've got a lot to think about. I'll catch you later. and then the mission goes, hey, wait a day and then talk to him again. Cool. I use the time skip, jump forward, and suddenly there's the two cops are in front of his door. His door's taped off. The big dude cop is on the ground crying, and without saying it, you're like, oh my god, he actually killed himself, and you've completely failed the mission. There's like nothing you can do about it, and I have no idea if you can keep him alive. I totally forgot I could backtrack. So I'm going to do that in my next playthrough, because I'm definitely doing another playthrough, because you've got 3 modes you can choose from. You've got like the upper class douches, the middle class like street punk, and then you've got like the nomads, which are like the rednecks. It's awesome. Um, God, I could talk about this game for hours. I'm a huge Cyberpunk junkie, so just the world, the technology. My dude's got, like, he's got barcodes and crap on his face. He's got little chunks missing. I use the mantis blades, which come out of your arms, so your hands actually change appearance depending on what you go with. If you use the mono whip, they look normal, except, like, right here, I think there's a piece. If you get the rocket launcher arm, because there's all kinds of weapons. There's the rocket launcher arm, which can be a tranquilizer gun, which homes in on targets, or it could just be this massive grenade, which opens wide open. Yeah, that makes sense. And it looks like a lot of clockwork and stuff. It looks really neat, and you can just fire a rocket and blow people apart. Because that's the other thing. I know a lot of people wanted that with Deus Ex, and that's why they did the director's cut of the Deus Ex Human Revolution. Is yes, you can either be violent or non-violent. You can cripple people, you can knock them unconscious, or you can just blow them into pieces. This game's pretty gory. You can blow sides of head off, you can blow their ribs out, blow all their limbs off. It's kind of incredible. Another thing that's funny is the nudity. If the glitches have done one thing, is make that even more hilarious, like nipples like floating above people, your genitalia like coming through clothes. It's hysterical. But overall, the game is spectacular. I enjoyed every single bit about it. I'm already ready to go back through it again. Similar to how I did The Witcher. I did that one like 3 times within a year. Overall, just if you can be patient, that's all I have to say. Be patient. Is it buggy? Yes. Is it game breaking? No. Is it worth your time? 100%. If you love a great story with fun characters, a beautiful lived-in world, then this is absolutely the game for you. It has my recommendation. It gets a solid like 4 out of 5 if I was to rate it. I know I'm saying review it, but I'm really just I don't like numbers. Like 4 out of 5, 5 out of 10. Like, what does that even mean? It's amazing. So, Film Fetish recommends. This has been Film Fetish off the cuff. As usual, I'm CJ, just with less beautiful posture. So yeah, keep it lowbrow.